So GaryVee made a video about breakfast recently, and he said this.
What do you eat for breakfast?
Nothing. I don't eat breakfast. The propaganda around breakfast being the most important meal is propaganda from the cereal and dairy industry. It's not true.
Oh.
Actually. Captain Crunch, Life, and Grape Nuts are my 3 favorite cereals. I just don't eat fucking breakfast.
People are pressed in the comments, saying things like, bro, you missed with this one, it's not too late to take it down, you know, sauce, trust me bro, that kind of stuff. But I'm here to tell you that this is actually 100% fact. And I love this because to go through this, we've got to go through a true supervillain origin story. So let me introduce to you a little article I wrote called Cereal and Circumcision. Enter John Harvey Kellogg. Now, he was a doctor and he was a bit of a weird guy and believed some really weird things. He and his brother got together and invented cornflakes to actually help reduce masturbation. It goes without saying that he was a pretty religious guy, a hardcore 7-day Adventist, believer in eugenics, and pretty overall racist. Like, he was an interesting dude. John starts a sanitarium, so think about like a health spa, but with the entire guilt of the Catholic Church on top of it. At the sanitarium, they would preach everything under the holistic banner. Everything from sunbathe, sexual abstinence, clitoral removal and circumcision. There was a lot of stuff that fit under that banner. Enemas, gut detoxes, a lot of these things that are still unfortunately in use today. Sprinkling of racism and, you know, some frontal lobotomy kind of vibes thrown in on top of there make this a pretty interesting place to be. He was a vegetarian, but actually also had some pretty progressive health views. One of the earliest proponents for the germ theory of disease. He did preach a lot about digestion and gut health, and some of those things we're learning about today. And actually, he was a very early proponent for anti-smoking reform. He was talking about the negative impacts of smoking a long time before the medical community was. Back to cornflakes. They were invented as an aphrodisiac. Aphrodisiac, which is a very hard word to say, and it's something that's designed to lower your libido so that you don't waste any pesky time masturbating. Now, it's suspected that the first person to say the phrase, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, was an American dietitian by the name of Leonard Cooper. He actually worked alongside Dr. Henry Kellogg. The magazine that was printed in was published by Dr. Kellogg. Most of the people who went to Dr. Kellogg's sanitarium were influential people of the time. They were authors, they were politicians, they were people with money and power and influence. And if they started to believe some of this stuff, it would make sense that it makes it into the mainstream. It's pretty easy to see how this could have radically changed our view of breakfast. Considering some of the views that he had, it's nice to see that cornflakes are the thing that we've carried on. Removing the end of genitals without anesthetic, because the pain would also help people not want to touch themselves, is probably something that we're pretty glad is largely in the past. Kellogg went on to have a very successful, and like many quacks today, Kellogg went on to have a very, very successful career selling books on self-help. Think about that the next time you take diet advice from a doctor who's written a book about it. Eric Berg, Jason Fung, obesity code. So look, in recap, GaryVee is not wrong about this one.
The propaganda around breakfast being the most important meal is propaganda from the cereal and dairy industry. It's not true.
He didn't actually say anything about the health benefits. GaryVee's the kind of guy that would take a shit standing up if it helped save him 13 seconds in the morning.
I just don't eat fucking breakfast.
I have no reason to believe that he's not skipping breakfast just as a time efficiency thing. But if you guys want to know what the science says about skipping breakfast and its health benefits, that's going to be on part 2. As always, like and subscribe for more.